Oh, Mr. Tolarian, what have you done here, man? What is up, guys? This is Cobb, and we've got a very special case, man, because we are taking over an account today that's honestly in pretty great shape, fully booked up. Seafy, we've got the goddamn Arbiter secured as well. The vault is even stacked with some very, very usable, high-quality champs. But this account is running into a brick wall known as HYDRA. Never really passed 1 million damage before, ever, into even normal HYDRA. And so, we're going to be doing what we can to rectify that today. And honestly, we do have our work cut out for us, because as much as I love the champs on this account, I'm going to have all kinds of recommendations as to what kind of champions you should be building as well for taking on HYDRA for the first time and for progressing in HYDRA. We are lacking damage dealers, like good damage dealers on this account. We've got plenty of supports and healers. Utility is great. The damage is like an ultimate Gallic, which isn't bad for getting started, don't get me wrong, we're going to be using this guy, but yeah, let's rock and roll. And you know me, I have to do this, I have to take a quick nose around the account. I can't help myself, man, poking my nose in other people's wardrobes and stuff like that, man. Ooh, I just get curious, you know, how many shards are we on? Also, if you're looking to sign up to Raid Shadow Legends, man, create a new account in 2025, make sure to look at this great haul, to use my beginner promo link down below at the top of the video description box, man, to get the best start possible with 4 free champs, including a free starter legendary in the form of Corrado Fox Hunter. Best beginner promo link going. Also get you a priority pass, man, for getting involved in this account takeover series. And so, yeah, that's down there below, man. Okay, let's get to HYDRA. This goddamn boss gives people so many problems, man. Hey, I actually uploaded a video a couple days ago covering tips to get started against every clan boss in the game, right? Chimera, HYDRA, and Demon Lord. And just talk about tools and stuff that you should be bringing to the table in all of these fights. For HYDRA, as most of you will probably well know, provokes and block buffs, debuff, kind of like the two essentials to bring into HYDRA clan boss. We've only really got Drexthar on the entire account that's level 60 and is a reasonably good provoker, except for the fact that he isn't booked out, and except for the fact that he's actually force affinity against a spirit affinity, Head of Decay. And so he's going to be weak hitting like crazy, and so he's not going to be a reliable provoker at all in this team. But we've got no other option, we have no other choice, right? Our block buffs champion is going to have to be... Where's Umbral at, man? There she is. Good old Umbral Enchantress. We're going to get her in the team. She's a little bit of a strange champion. She has an attack all enemies, 3-turn duration, block buffs, debuff. Thankfully, she's fully booked. That's great. She can be used as a provoker, but when she places a provoke, it's a 2-turn duration provoke. Great stuff. But then she places an unblockable block active skills debuff on herself for 5 turns, meaning she can't place the block buffs debuff anymore because she's locked out of all of her skills, right? And so, yeah, not the best HYDRA provoker, but at least she's going to keep the block buffs up at all times. Our damage dealers, like I mentioned before, are very, very lacking. The fact that we do have Drexthar on the team, though, he likes everybody to be under HP burn debuffs at all times. It kind of makes sense to throw the ultimate Gallic on the team. Gallic is great. At least he has like a double hitter AoE. It is on a 4-turn cooldown, which sucks a little bit, but if he's under an increased attack buff, then each of the hits of this double hitter have a chance to place HP burn, and so HP burn is a great debuff to bring into HYDRA. He's going to be a fine damage dealer, I think. I think he's going to be okay. It's like the best we could do, but he does need to be under that increased attack buff. And so let's get to the support champions next. We need revivers, we need healers, bit of debuff cleanse would be great, and try and get an increased attack buff in there if we can. So we're going to go ahead and throw in Seafy. She brings increased speed, which is fantastic. Revive. Does she bring increased defense as well? I think she does. Bit of debuff cleanse or debuff block or something like that. Seafy's going to be a great support for the purposes of this team. Now, we could consider throwing Arbiter into this team as well. She brings another revive. She does also bring that increased attack buff, and that's great. Bit of 10 meter fill as well on this. Lovely, lovely stuff. I think we're going to need more healing, though, than just the Seafy. We're not going to be doing much damage with this team at all, and so it's just going to kind of be a bit of a survival game. I don't expect this team to just be like dropping 30 million, 40 million damage or something. It's not going to be like that. Again, this is an account that's never hit 1 million damage before on HYDRA, so it's some baby steps, you know. I'm going to actually go back to the level 55 Doom Priest and toss this champ on the team. She's incredible. She's one of the champs that got me started in HYDRA for the first time on my account because of how easy she is to build, right? She brings increased attack, first of all, on a 2, so Great stuff for the Ultimate Gallic for activating his HP burns. And then she's also going to be healing all allies who are removing one random debuff from them at the start of this champion's turn. Now, I am going to be rebuilding the Doom Priest on this account before we make this Hydra attempt, so that she's wearing a Relentless set, so that she gets a chance of getting an extra turn, right? That 18% chance at an extra turn and double triggering her passive. It's going to be very, very valuable stuff. She's also right now slower than the Ultimate Gallic, I think, with her current build, which not ideal. Obviously, she needs to get up the increased attack buff before the Gallic is attacking in on round 1. And so, yeah, we're going to have to fix that as well and speed her up a little bit too. But I think even at level 55, even without a banner, the Doom Priest is going to do a pretty good job here. And then we have like a final damage dealer slot. I think... Dude, do we just go for like the Stag Knight, man? We just throw him in there because he brings decreased attack, decreased defense, and that's all we really care about, just reducing the Hydra head damage a little bit. On the same note, we could also go for... I did just see him. Where the hell did he go, man? Where's Grush? Grush... Oh, he's right next to Gallic. What the hell am I talking about? Right next to Stag Knight, rather. Grush the Mangler does also bring a decreased attack and decreased crit damage debuff on his A2. And he also brings an attack all enemies place continuous heal buff on allies for 2 turns. And so he would bring some extra heals to the table if our healing isn't quite enough. I'm going to try it out with Stag Knight first, I think. But Grush is there waiting in the wings. And so I'm going to go ahead and save this team just now in the team planner, and then let's rebuild some champions. All right, man, before re-gearing, I'm going to head on into the revival path that Mr. Account Owner actually has some like free gear removal on, or a gear removal discount token on. We're going to go ahead and grab that. And dude, can I just say as well, he's actually got the Elva ready to collect from his revival path as well. Elva, incredible champion. We should definitely be building this gal out for our next Hydra team, but more on that when I am actually recommending champions for us to build in the future on this account. And so for now, we're just making do with what we got. Okay, so I actually did save a build for the Doom Priest in the build planner. As you can see, I'm not rolling much of this gear up to rank 16. These boots were already rank 16. I don't want to waste too much cash in the account. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I'm going to go ahead and slam this on. Oh, I'm not. I'm going to go into the inbox first and then pop the gear removal discount. And then I'm going to go ahead and slam this gear on. Okay, there we go. That's more like it, man. Accessories switched over as well. And now the Doom Priest is just a lot faster. The faster you can get her, the better. If you can get her running at like 270 speed or something, that's even better. The reason I love Doom Priest so much, by the way, and she's such a great option, do not like vault this champion. Don't underestimate this champion if you pull her early game on your own account. It's because she's so easy to build, man. 1 buck to reduce the cooldown of the only skill that requires or like really needs bucks in her entire kit. She doesn't need any accuracy at all. And so, yeah, you can just kind of throw her in at the deep end and she'll do great as long as she's reasonably survivable and reasonably fast. And that's it. That's all you've got to worry about with her. Now, what I would love to do with the Umbral Enchantress, whose accuracy is a bit lacking, but it's going to be saved by the Drexlar's accuracy aura. What I would love to do with this team... Oh my god, man. And this is where I'm panicking about this account a little bit, man. I would love to have the Umbral Enchantress in a cursed artifact set. Do we have the gear to pull this off? This is the question, man. This is not a lot of cursed gear, okay? I'm just a little bit concerned that the pieces here might not be very good. Let's see what we can put together. Cannot underestimate the set enough, by the way. To be fair, man, I've been a little bit unfair on Mr. Tellurium. He's done an okay job at least at holding on to some of his cursed gear. I've taken over accounts before, man, where people have just had 0 cursed gear. Like they just think it's all trash. Like what the hell? Just get rid of it. Hex debuff. Ugh, who the hell cares about that? You know. Then it comes to Hydra, and you're gonna wish that you could put a cursed set on one of your support champions. You know. All right, screw it. I'm gonna leave it. There's a gear enhancement event coming up tomorrow that Mr. Tellurium can at least get involved in if he wants to switch around his Umbral's gear a little bit. I don't want to do too much rolling up of the gear, you know, until then. And he's also using that Umbral Enchantress in an arena team, I think like tag arena team, stuff like that. And so I don't want to mess with the speeds too much and break any of his teams in the process of, you know, spending a lot of silver outside of artifact enhancement, just like a double L. And so let's see what we can do with this team. Now, I've gone into the team AI already. We've disabled the A3 on the Umbral Enchantress, so she's just spamming the block buffs as much as possible. Everybody else should be kind of good to rock and roll. Okay, good. Doom Priest is now faster than the Ultimate Gallic. Let's do this, man. Okay, so Sifi's gonna come in with all kinds of buffs at the start. Increased defense, increased speed, all that good stuff. The block buff, debuff is gonna go up from the Umbral Enchantress, and then we need this provoke to just land by pure luck from the Drexthar, at least on the first attack. And every time it fails, I'm just gonna restart the run, okay? I'm not gonna mess around. We're not gonna wait around to just die a horrible death. That first provoke basically has to land from the Drexthar. Okay, so spoilers, but Stagnite is a weak link after a couple of attempts at this. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in good old Marta as the aura lead instead for the time being. Is she an ideal Hydra champion? Not really, right? If she gets the counterattack buff stolen, and God forbid that gets spread to all the other Hydra heads, that's an absolute bloody disaster. But what she does bring is an AoE decreased attack. She also brings like a backup provoke, which frankly we need. Depressingly, it's also a 4-turn cooldown, even when fully booked, but I'm hoping that she's going to bring enough just stability to the team, because without a booked Drexthar and into weak affinity Head of Decay, it's just not happening. It's just painful stuff, you know. So yeah, again, early days, man. Let's try this again. All right, like attempt number 20 in this Hydra battle. So yeah, this is like the best. This is like the best key I could get with this team. Which, frankly, I feel like this team is doing a lot of things right, you know, like the revive is great, the healing is actually good, like the healing is enough, all of the defensive stuff, right, and the block buffs and stuff coming in as well from the Umbral, that's all great. We just don't have any damage. Also, the Drexthar's kind of useless, man. So couple things. We'll start with the Drexthar, actually. Of course, he's weak affinity into the Head of Decay, right? Force into Spirit. Not a good matchup. He's weak hitting all the time, and he was pretty much useless as a provoker against this rotation of Hydra. Next rotation, he's probably going to do great, but at this one, he sucks. You know, he actually did a lot more damage than he did provoking, and by a lot more, I still don't mean a lot, okay, but he still did something at least by landing the HP bends from his passive, and so, great. Ultimate Gallic, on the other hand, dead. For, like, most of the fight, by the way. Yeah, he just didn't really do anything. His defense is just way too low. We're gonna go ahead and re-gear him, or just suggest a build that the account owner can use, Tellarium can use, just to bolster up the Gallic's defense a little bit while maintaining a reasonable amount of crit rate and stuff like that. But he was just kind of dead for most of the fight, and so he ended up doing basically nothing. But that's just how strapped we have options on this account when it comes to damage dealers. And to be honest, things get so gnarly towards the end of this fight, which I'll actually skip to just now. If I just go ahead and skip ahead in this little replay, you can see people dying horribly. It's just a disaster. But we managed to carry on for like another 4 or 5 minutes from this point. You can see I'm manualing my way through this at this point, just trying to like stretch the run as far as I can. But I take this as proof. I take this as evidence that like the survivability of the team is actually not the problem. The defense stats obviously could be improved. Obviously, else people wouldn't be dying like this, you know. But like the healing, the revives, all that kind of good stuff, the debuff cleanse, that's all great. The problem is the damage, and the thing is, man, if you get like a good Hydra damage dealer on this team, instead of, for example, the Marta, who's just like in the middle of the team, right here, like the Marta is a stand-in to help us out with the bloody provokes, because the Drexthar is so useless. But if you just have one provoker on this team that's good, like Drexthar, where when booked into a good rotation, then suddenly you only need the Drexthar, and you can swap in another damage dealer instead. And hopefully a real Hydra damage dealer, not this Ultimate Gallic action just standing in for us, you know, something big and meaty like a Thor or a Newt or whatever, you know, one of the big boys, if we can, would be amazing. And then all of a sudden the Hydra heads are dying twice or 3 times as fast, and then you frankly don't need to worry as much about just trying to survive, because, you know, every Hydra head that you decapitate, you're just reducing the amount of mechanics that you have to deal with, you know, and so damage can often be a great way to help your team stay alive as well into Hydra. So I just want to make sure to go ahead and get that across. But I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead just towards the end of this fight. You can see how the run kind of falls apart towards the end. It's mostly because, you know, champs start getting swallowed by the Hydra heads. We don't have any cursed artifacts that are worth a damn, you know. We don't have any like high speed cursed artifacts to put on the Umbral Enchantress to keep the Hex debuff up as much as we can on the Hydra heads. And so anytime the Head of Mischief was the Hydra head that swallowed somebody, you've only got like a 25% chance to even hit it with single target attacks. And so, yeah, big problem, right? Big problem. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and rebuild a couple of champions just now. Then we're going to get to some champion suggestions that we can build out on this account to really help our runs out as this run comes to a close at about 6 million damage, which, you know, it's a lot more than less than 1 million, which is what we were normally hitting on this. But as you can see, man, the Drexler actually way out damaged the Ultimate Gallic, because the Ultimate Gallic was just always dead. It was just always dead, dude. It was really bad. And the Drexler was useless as a provoker and ended up doing like okay damage. And by okay, we still mean not a lot, right? What I've gone and done first and foremost is just for Mr. Tellurium, I've gone ahead into his fitting room and just planned out what could be a new Gallic build right here. And it's just way more defensive focused once these items are rolled up. He should be sitting pretty at something around like, I don't know, 2700, 2800 defense. Still not amazing. Accuracy might need some glyphs to bring the accuracy up a little bit on this new gear, but I'm not going to go ahead and equip this just yet. It's a gear enhancement tomorrow, and Tellurium can get this gear equipped if he wants to on his new Gallic, and this is what I would recommend just to get his defense stats up more than anything. These are also crit rate gauntlets as well, so we can get his crit rate back up to where it should be by just rolling these up like one rank at a time as high as they need to go, and that's the rebuild I would make on the Gallic. And as for upgrading this Hydra team in future, honestly, I think this Hydra team can do okay. Ideally, the Drexler would be the aura leader, I guess, in this one, just to reduce everyone's accuracy requirements a little bit. And then we can switch out the Martyr for a big, meaty damage dealer and get the Drexler booked up so you can actually be a good provoker. And get a bit more defense, of course, on the Gallic so he just stops dying absolutely horribly. And I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine, right? Future rotations of Hydra, the Head of Decay is not going to be Spirit Affinity, and so the Drexler can then be a more reliable provoker in this kind of team. And it's still quite budget, minus like a couple of very, very nice components like the CP. But yeah, that will do for a team number 1. But for team number 2, we've not yet collected Elva from the new player pass or whatever it is that we've got on this account again. And I don't want to click it yet because I don't know if the account owner is saving that for like a champion chase tournament or something to get some free points. But we're just going to imagine, or through the power of editing rather, add Elva as our team leader in this spot right here. Next up as our team's provoker, we actually do have the Vizix, who is actually a Volta champion on this account. Frankly, I think we should max up the Vizix as quickly as possible and get her added into the team. She's going to bring an AoE decreased speed as well as an AoE provoke. She's also void affinity, meaning unless the Hydra heads get the poison cloud buff up on themselves, she's never going to weak hit. It doesn't matter what affinity the Head of Decay is, she doesn't have that problem like Drexler has, and so great provoker here to have in the squad. Next up for a wee bit more healing, as well as the perfect Veil buff so that we can deal with the Head of Torment, we can go ahead and throw Rector Drath into the squad. Of course, Elva already has a revive in her kit, so there's a little smidgen of overlap there, but I think it'll be a fine supporting duo for this team and offer enough healing to keep everybody kicking. And then probably go ahead and throw a Counter the Cyclone into this team. Just brings all kinds of debuffs to the table in a huge ultra mega mix. Backup provoke rather on her passive. Would be really interesting to see if she could actually handle the provoke job on her own. I've heard some people report that they have a lot of success using Cantra as a lone provoker in the Hydra team, and she can actually pull it off. Either which way, man, we can experiment a little bit with that in future. Maybe it requires the Vizix and the Cantra. Maybe the Cantra could even switch into the Hydra team number 1 and help out the Drexler over there, you know, as part of that team as well in future. Either way, she's an incredible champion and deserves to be fully built out on the account anyway, which it looks like we're in the process of doing. Next up, and once again through the power of editing, because we don't actually have an Ugo on this account, which is really sad, but we need another good block buffs debuffer champion to fit into this team as well, and so an Ugo in this position right here is going to be fantastic. Is going to bring decreased defense and the block buffs debuff and some healing and a cleanse as well, and so it would be interesting to see if we could even switch the Rector Drath out of this team, potentially, for just another big meaty damage dealer as and when we find one. And it might actually do pretty okay, you know, just like front loading with damage instead. You know, offense can be your best defense in that way, but the Ugo would be a great addition to this team. And then honestly, for the final spot, just a big, fat, meaty, ridiculous legendary damage dealer, something like a Thor would be great. I'm blanking on what other ones you could get, but a Thor would be great, right? A Ninja would be pretty solid. But yeah, the champs that you're seeing on screen right now, hopefully through the power of editing anyway, things look very, very different on my screen, would be the second Hydra team that I would look to start building out. And honestly, it would probably be a lot more powerful than the A team, right? Than the team number 1. And so champions that I would build out as soon as possible for Hydra progression on this account could really start anywhere else, but then with the Elva herself, who's just incredible. She's just a Siphi into Hydra, just better. Like her revive cooldown is 1 turn shorter when fully booked, right? It's only a 3 turn cooldown on the revive. She brings debuff cleanse, right? So not just block debuffs, but debuff cleanse on her A2, and she still brings the increased speed. Same as Siphi as well. And she brings a bit of extra healing as well on the A1, whereas Siphi's, I think, is asleep. And so it's just a bit more suited for PvP than Elva. Elva's just, she's just Siphi, but a little bit better into Hydra. You know, even the passive and the way that the heals work are very, very similar, except you get some perfect veil buffs circulating as well from the Elva, and so even the passive is just that little bit better, you know. So Elva, absolutely S tier priority on this account to rank up for Hydra. Next up, we did already touch on the Rector Drath. The Rector should definitely go up to 60 as well. In my view, fantastic stuff, and she'll find a spot on one of our Hydra teams. She might eventually be like demoted to a Hydra C team or something in the future, but that's fine. We'll get a hell of a lot of use out of her anyway, and just a great champion all around. Next up, Doom Priest. She's almost there. Of course, I did rebuild the Doom Priest into a Relentless gear, which she's in right now. She does need ascending up to 6 stars and get a good banner on her as well, where the only stats that matter are primarily speed, and then any kind of HP percent or defense percent is great as well, but mostly just speed is all you give a damn about on the Doom Priest, and yeah, she'll be great when she's got that banner. Next up, another fantastic champion that we've already 6-starred as well. We actually have her in a build out and a stun set, is the Sylar. This is a champion that I did deeply consider trying to work into some of these teams because of her ability to absolutely thrive in a cursed set. Against Hydra, right? You put her in the cursed set. She has multiple AoE skills. She can attack all enemies, even on her A1. So she's spreading the hell out of the Hex debuff, and she could find a place in one of our Hydra teams in future as well. She does bring an AoE decreased speed also, which is just amazing, right? So whichever team doesn't have the Vizix on could potentially use Sylar in a Hex set on their team, and so that's just a build to consider in future for Mr. Tellarium when we eventually have better speed and accuracy cursed gear to work with. Another champion that I did go ahead and pull out of the vault and I'm loving using on my main account is good old Tyrant Ixlamor. This guy is just a way more dependable HP burner than the likes of Ultimate Gallic. He does take quite a few books to kind of to get his A2 down to a 310 cooldown and get it nice and reliable, but he's somebody to consider. He does also bring Ally Protect and increased defense buff as well on a 310 cooldown on his A3, and his passive decreased the damage inflicted by enemies under HP burn debuffs by 10%, so he helps your survivability out a hell of a lot, and is still going to do like comparable damage to the likes of an Ultimate Gallic, if not slightly more, because just more dependable HP burns, you know. He's definitely one to consider, man. I wouldn't put him super high up on the list, but you know, if we happen to just come into a library of legendary skill books and want to max this guy out, I think that he would be a pretty solid upgrade. Now, as for the big legendary meathead damage dealers that I was referring to a little bit earlier on, if you're using the likes of a Drexthar as your provoker in your Hydra team, then you just want big meaty HP burners. None really come to mind that could be possibly better than Attack. This guy is crazy as hell, man. All kinds of AoE skills, man, that place HP burns and then activate HP burns. Also has a 100% chance of placing strong decreased attack debuff on all enemies on his A2 as well. Yeah, the guy's just a monster, man. This is a crazy good Hydra damage dealer. One of the best legendary champs in the game, and great in the HP burn style team. I've already mentioned Thor as well, and the likes of, you know, I mean, the obvious ones, right? Where the hell is Newt? There he is, man. Good old Newt, dude. Attacks one enemy 3 times, decreased target's defense. Damage is based on defense and enemy max HP. These enemy max HP damage dealers, even if we were just looking at more budget champions though, we could even just point towards the likes of a Royal Guard, which we don't have on this account. We're kind of lacking a lot of these more common epic champions. We have a lot of epic champions, but not Ugo, not Royal Guard, not Geomancer. It's like, man, those are like the really S tier ones, you know? Those are like the great ones to bring along. Attack all enemies, Damage is based on enemy max HP on his A2. Also brings an AoE, or like pseudo AoE, 4 times at random hitter. Decreased speed debuff as well on his A3. So Royal Guard is fantastic for the job. And Geomancer, everybody knows Geomancer, right? And that's one of the budget damage dealers we could also look out for as well to bulk these teams out. And so, oh, somebody just left your clan, man. What an absolute traitor. Off with his head. But okay, it might not seem like it because I had to BRB like halfway through this takeover because we had guests over. But man, I've been in this account for like nearly 4 hours, man. Oh my god, I gotta get this back to Mr. Tellerium, man. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, if you are looking to get involved in the account takeover series, to head on down to my Discord server, which is down below in the description box. Join that server and you can make a post in the account takeover submissions channel for a chance of getting involved in this series yourself. And then also don't forget that you can sign up to raid using the best beginner promo link in the world, in the galaxy, in the universe. Down below at the top of the video description box, man. Just simply click on my beginner promo link down there. You're going to get yourself all kinds of freebies when you start a new raid account, including a free starter legendary champion. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to catch all of you guys just a tad bit later, man.